05:42 a.m. The Persian Gulf was quiet. No wind, no warning. Then a sharp tone echoed across the USS Roosevelt's command deck. Radar lit up with red flashes, dozens of unknown vessels moving fast toward U.S. waters. Within seconds, alarms roared. Pilots ran, missiles armed, the sky filled with tension. 6 minutes later, the ocean would burn like a field of fire. What began as silence turned into the fastest naval battle in modern history. Before we uncover how the U.S. crushed Iran's secret invasion in only 6 minutes, like this video, subscribe, and press the bell icon, because what happens next will change how you see naval warfare forever. It began weeks before that morning strike. Tensions between Iran and the United States were already at their highest point in years. Diplomatic talks had collapsed. Sanctions had tightened around Tehran's oil exports. In response, Iranian commanders began planning a silent move, a military operation designed to pressure the West without open declaration of war. By early 2025, intelligence analysts in Washington noticed strange patterns on satellite images. Small Iranian vessels appeared to vanish from regular shipping lanes, only to reappear near restricted zones. At first, these were dismissed as fishing boats, but by the end of March, signals data showed something else. The boats were armed. Hidden beneath tarps were anti-ship missiles and short-range drones. It was a fleet disguised for an ambush. The target was the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical choke points in the world. Every day, nearly 21 million barrels of oil pass through those narrow waters. Controlling it means controlling a third of global energy flow. Iran's goal was simple but bold: block U.S. and allied access, then demand new terms through force. The United States had long predicted such a move. Task Force 79, led by the aircraft carrier USS Roosevelt, had been positioned in the region for months. The Roosevelt carried F/A-18 Super Hornets, electronic warfare jets, and surveillance drones. Nearby cruisers like the USS Lake Erie formed a protective ring. Officially, their mission was regional stability. Unofficially, they were there for exactly this: to stop any Iranian attempt to dominate the Gulf. Commander Ethan Cole, a career Navy officer with 18 years of experience, led the Roosevelt's Air Operations Wing. He had served in Iraq and Syria. He knew how fast things could change on the water. In his pre-dawn briefing that morning, he warned his crew, "If they move first, we finish it fast." Those words would soon prove prophetic. As midnight passed into early morning, the Gulf looked calm. The sky was pale gray. Drones patrolled silently above, but the signals team aboard the Roosevelt noticed faint interference, electronic noise spreading across radar bands. It wasn't weather, it was jamming. Someone was trying to blind U.S. eyes. At 04:50 a.m., the first encrypted message came from an Allied drone operating near the strait. It had detected multiple heat signatures moving south, low in the water, fast and tight in formation. Within 5 minutes, more signals appeared. Iranian fast attack boats, about 25 in total, supported by 2 medium corvettes believed to be under IRGC control. Their heading straight toward U.S. supply lanes. The White House was informed, but authorization had already been granted for defensive action if engaged. Cole's team didn't wait. He ordered Condition 2, weapons primed, radars active, pilots on standby. Every second counted. By 05:30 a.m., the fleet closed to within 45 nautical miles. Still, they transmitted no radio message. Then came silence, a digital blackout. Every satellite feed flickered. The Iranian fleet had activated full-spectrum jamming. It was a sign. The attack had begun. What made the moment more dangerous was the setting. The Persian Gulf's shallow waters make radar readings unstable. False echoes can confuse missile systems. A single mistake could hit a neutral ship or spark a wider war. Cole and his team knew this, but their training was exact. The Roosevelt's combat network, linked through AEGIS and AI-assisted radar filters, kept tracking the threats even through interference. At 05:38 a.m., an electronic analyst spotted a new signal: missile locks from the Iranian corvettes. Within seconds, the Roosevelt's defense systems confirmed hostile intent. Cole gave the order in a calm voice: "All stations, Condition 1, engage if targeted." No one on deck spoke. Only the hum of machinery and the distant crackle of comms filled the air. Everyone knew what was coming. The clock ticked toward 05:42 a.m. The invasion force moved closer. The U.S. Navy was ready. In the next 6 minutes, the calm sea would turn into a firestorm. The battle that followed would be studied for decades, not for its length, but for its precision. It would show how fast the modern battlefield moves when information, speed, and training align perfectly. And when it began, the world would learn what American retaliation truly means. 5:42 a.m. The calm broke. A flash appeared on the Roosevelt's radar. One of the Iranian corvettes had launched a Noor anti-ship missile, heading straight for the task force. The missile traveled low and fast, hugging the sea surface to avoid detection. The moment it fired, the Roosevelt's combat system lit up in red. The order was instant. Engage incoming. From the destroyer USS Lake Erie, a Sea-Ram defense unit fired. Its 11-barrel launcher spun, releasing a wall of rapid-fire missiles. Within seconds, the Iranian projectile was shredded mid-air. The explosion lit the horizon. Every sailor on deck knew the engagement had begun. The Roosevelt's pilots scrambled. 2 F/A-18 Super Hornets launched from the carrier deck, their afterburners cutting through the morning fog. Their mission was to neutralize the incoming Iranian fleet before it could close range. In the air, they linked to the E-2D Hawkeye, a radar aircraft circling high above. The Hawkeye relayed coordinates of 25 Iranian fast attack boats moving in tight formation. Each carried torpedoes and short-range rockets. At 05:43 a.m., the first American strike began. The F/A-18s dropped GBU-39 precision glide bombs on the lead vessels. Each bomb hit with deadly accuracy. 2 Iranian boats exploded instantly, scattering debris across the water. Another 3 were disabled. The strike lasted less than 30 seconds, but Iran's counterattack came fast. The second corvette fired a salvo of 4 anti-ship missiles. The task force responded with layered defense. The USS Roosevelt launched chaff and decoys to confuse radar locks. The USS Lake Erie deployed interceptors again. 2 hits, 1 near miss, 1 missile struck the water harmlessly. No American ship was hit. At 05:44 a.m., Commander Cole authorized full retaliation. The Roosevelt's vertical launch system opened. 8 Tomahawk Block VI cruise missiles roared into the sky. Each missile carried a 1,000-pound warhead and traveled at 550 miles per hour. Their targets, the Iranian corvettes leading the operation. Within 90 seconds, radar confirmed impact. The first Tomahawk struck the lead ship amidships, breaking it apart. The second exploded near the engine section of another. The shock waves rippled across the sea. Fuel spilled and ignited, painting the ocean in sheets of orange flame. Iranian command tried to respond. Remaining boats fired short-range rockets, but their systems were outdated and disorganized. Electronic warfare by the U.S. Navy jammed their communications. They could not coordinate. In military terms, they were blind. At 05:46 a.m., another squadron of Super Hornets joined the fight. Using laser guidance, they executed a pincer run, attacking from both sides. Within 1 minute, the last Iranian corvette was engulfed in fire. Secondary explosions followed, ammunition cooking off inside. For the sailors aboard the Roosevelt, the view was unreal. The water seemed to glow as burning fuel spread across several miles. Sensors recorded water temperatures rising above 200 degrees Fahrenheit near impact zones. The crew called it later the ocean firestorm. The entire exchange, from the first missile to the last explosion, lasted only 6 minutes. By 05:48 a.m., all enemy signatures vanished from radar. The area returned to silence. Commander Cole's voice came over the comm. "All stations, cease fire, maintain perimeter." His tone was steady, almost calm. No cheers followed, only quiet relief. The operation had ended faster than anyone expected. Later, analysts would describe it as one of the most efficient naval defenses in modern warfare. 25 hostile vessels neutralized, 2 corvettes destroyed, 0 U.S. losses. 6 minutes from first contact to total victory. The aftermath was visible from space. Satellite photos showed a massive black plume stretching for miles, drifting over the Gulf. News agencies caught the images within hours, calling it the morning inferno. But inside the Roosevelt, there was no celebration. The crew watched the horizon, flames still burning, oil bubbling on the surface. For them, it wasn't victory. It was survival. They had seen what 6 minutes of modern war looks like: precise, brutal, and absolute. And as the smoke rose over the Persian Gulf, Commander Cole's words echoed in the control room. Speed wins wars, but peace is slower to come. The 6-minute engagement in the Persian Gulf became a case study in precision warfare. It showed how technology, training, and timing can decide everything. The U.S. Navy didn't just win with firepower, it won with systems that could think, react, and adapt faster than human reflexes. At the heart of the operation was the AEGIS combat system, the Navy's digital brain. AEGIS links every sensor, radar, missile, and aircraft in the battle group. It processes thousands of signals per second. During the attack, Iranian jammers tried to blind AEGIS with electronic noise, but the system switched frequencies automatically, creating what sailors call a ghost net, a live radar map rebuilt from scattered data. That's how the Roosevelt kept eyes on all 27 enemy vessels, even through heavy jamming. The Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles launched from the Roosevelt were next-generation precision weapons. Each missile has a range of over 1,000 miles and can adjust mid-flight using GPS and terrain mapping. In this battle, 8 Tomahawks flew at just 100 feet above sea level, low enough to avoid radar, high enough to maintain accuracy. The result was complete destruction of both Iranian corvettes before they could fire a third wave. The F-18 Super Hornets carried GBU-39 small-diameter bombs, lightweight but extremely accurate. Each bomb can hit within a 3-foot margin, guided by satellite and laser. The jets flew attack runs in pairs, alternating angles every 20 seconds. This rotation pattern made it impossible for enemy radar to lock on them. On the defensive side, CRAM systems played a critical role. CRAM combines radar tracking with rapid-fire interceptor missiles. It reacts in under 2 seconds after detecting an incoming threat. During the engagement, Lake Erie's CRAM intercepted 4 missiles in a row, a perfect defense record. Electronic warfare aircraft also joined in. The EA-18G Growler, a variant of the Super Hornet, jammed Iranian targeting systems using bursts of electromagnetic noise. This made the enemy's missiles drift off course or lock onto false targets. Without that cover, at least one U.S. ship might have been hit. But technology alone isn't enough. Training was what turned seconds into victory. The Roosevelt's crew drilled for these situations weekly. Every sailor knew their role by heart. When the alert sounded, the entire task force reached battle readiness in under 2 minutes. That's faster than the global Navy average of 5. Command coordination also mattered. Each ship's commander communicated through encrypted data links. No radio chatter, no delay. Orders traveled as instant digital codes across vessels and aircraft. That reduced confusion and avoided verbal miscommunication, a common cause of friendly fire in earlier wars. The engagement also revealed the evolution of AI-assisted targeting. The AEGIS system's adaptive learning algorithm analyzed Iranian attack patterns in real time. Within minutes, it predicted which ships were command vessels and prioritized them for destruction. Later analysis confirmed that the Tomahawks had struck exactly those targets first. Speed and data made all the difference. From first detection to total victory, only 6 minutes passed. Within those 6 minutes, over 40 missiles, drones, and bombs were launched and tracked simultaneously. Every hit, every intercept, every command, timed to the millisecond. After the event, Pentagon analysts compared it to the Battle of Midway in 1942. Both battles lasted under 10 minutes, both decided by surprise and precision. But this time, machines did what once took hundreds of men. The engagement also highlighted how modern naval warfare is changing. It's no longer about large fleets facing off for hours. It's about sensors, algorithms, and split-second reactions. Whoever controls information wins the fight before the enemy even realizes what happened. Commander Cole's after-action report summed it up clearly. They came with speed. We replied with precision. Their confusion lasted longer than their attack. In military history, the event was logged as Operation Gulf Firestorm. 6 minutes, 27 targets destroyed, 0 U.S. losses. The technology behind it proved one truth. In the 21st century, control of data means control of battle, And in that dawn over the Gulf, America showed it still owns the fastest trigger on the sea. When the smoke cleared over the Persian Gulf, silence returned. The battle had lasted just 6 minutes, but its impact reached every capital on Earth. By 06 a.m., U.S. surveillance drones confirmed total mission success. 17 Iranian vessels were destroyed or sinking. 2 corvettes burned beyond recovery. The rest scattered or went dark. No American ships or aircraft had been hit. Not a single sailor was lost. It was, by all counts, a flawless victory. The water, however, told a different story. Thick black oil burned across the surface for hours. Flames stretched for miles, flickering orange against the gray dawn. The heat could be felt from nearby ships. Sailors watched in silence. It was a view they would never forget. The ocean itself on fire. News spread fast. By 10 a.m., global media outlets showed satellite photos of the smoke column rising from the Gulf. It looked like a storm made of fire. Social feeds filled with claims and denials. Iranian state television called it a training accident. The Pentagon released only a short statement. U.S. forces responded defensively to an immediate threat in the Persian Gulf. No casualties reported. Behind closed doors, the world's intelligence agencies scrambled. NATO officials were briefed. The United Nations called for restraint. Oil prices jumped 9% in a single day before stabilizing. For 48 hours, markets feared a wider war. But Iran chose silence instead of escalation. Their losses were too large, and their operation too exposed. In Washington, the Department of Defense analyzed the event line by line. Every radar log, every communication, every missile strike was recorded. The data showed what modern war had become, a contest measured in seconds. Analysts described it as the first 6-minute war of the 21st century. For the U.S. Navy, the operation became a model of joint precision. The Roosevelt's crew received formal commendations. Commander Ethan Cole was praised for maintaining total control under pressure. When asked about his decision-making, he replied, "We didn't react. We executed." There's a difference. Outside military circles, the world debated what it meant. Some called it proof of unstoppable American power. Others called it a warning that war had become too fast for diplomacy to keep up. But no one doubted the outcome. The U.S. had shown that its reach, technology, and coordination could end a battle before the enemy even understood it had begun. In the Gulf that morning, the fire burned until sunset. The sea boiled quietly under black smoke. Fishermen miles away could still smell the fuel in the air. The invasion had ended before it truly started. 6 minutes. That was all it took for one of the most secret operations in modern history to collapse. And in those 6 minutes, the balance of power in the region shifted once again, silently, decisively, and completely. When the ocean finally cooled, the world moved on. News cycles shifted, markets steadied. But for the men and women who stood on the decks that morning, those 6 minutes never ended. They had seen how fragile peace really was, how quickly silence could turn into fire. Modern war no longer lasts days or months. It lasts seconds. The battle in the Persian Gulf proved that. Sensors replaced scouts. Algorithms replaced guesswork. A commander's voice could now move missiles across oceans in less than a heartbeat. Technology had removed hesitation, and with it, the last pause before destruction. Commander Ethan Cole later wrote in his report, "War is now about who thinks faster, not who shoots first." His words echoed through military schools and strategy briefings. The engagement was studied not just for its speed, but for what it revealed, that deterrence is no longer measured by the number of ships or soldiers, but by the speed of response and the precision of data. For the public, the event remained a mystery. A brief headline, a cloud of smoke on a satellite photo. Few understood how close the world had come to a wider war that day. 6 minutes was all that stood between escalation and catastrophe. The Persian Gulf returned to calm within days, but its reflection stayed burned in memory. The fire on the water was more than the end of a battle. It was a message. It showed that control of the sea is no longer about geography. It's about information. Whoever commands the flow of data commands the world's oceans. As Commander Cole said during a quiet interview months later, "We didn't want war, but we were ready for it. and readiness is what stopped it. His calm voice carried the weight of truth, the kind learned not in classrooms, but in the flash of combat. In the end, no victory parade followed. No celebration filled the decks, only reflection. The sailors of the Roosevelt watched the horizon, knowing they had witnessed a moment history might never fully record. The ocean burned for 6 minutes, but its memory still burns, in silence, in data, and in the hearts of those who saw how fast the world can change.